Welcome back to Total Tactics. I know it's been an extra week before the release of the second tactic for the post-winter update, but I think I've got another great one for you, and it is going to be the second strikerless tactic that we've put out since the winter update, because I really do think it is something that is back in a big way with the changes that have happened to the match engine in that winter update. Something we talked about a lot in the previous video, so you can check a link from that, right up there. Hit a link there to see the past video and some of the discussions on why I think the changes really unlocked the potential of strikerless within the FM23 match engine. But today we're going to focus on a slightly different build and something that we have done before on the channel. And so again, here's another video that you can reference to a pre-winter update and maybe even pre-first patch update to a strikerless tactic that had already happened. So this one's going to be 5 at the back with 3 AMs as well. So it's an interesting shape, one that we've visited before on the channel and something that other creators that I'm friends with also have played around with. And I think it is something that's really uniquely positioned to be dangerous in the winter update. So let's take a look at the tactic. All right, so this is the shape, and the shape that I was just talking about, where it's 3 up front and 3 in the back. Now, one of the things that I was really setting out to do as I built this tactic is to really think about triangles and where and how I wanted those triangles to look on the pitch. So that's what I'm going to focus on here as I sort of break down this tactic, and then something that we'll revisit when we're looking at the highlights as well to see those triangles at work. One of the really basic building blocks of any tactic. So we have, let's start with this triangle, the Mezzala, the TREQUARTISTA, and the Shadow Striker. So the TREQUARTISTA does have some instructions to run wide with the ball, stay wider, and hold the ball up. So it's almost like this Mezzala should be looking to kind of underlap the TREQUARTISTA. And when the Mezzala is overlapping the TREQUARTISTA, then it creates another really tight triangle between these 3 as well. So that's a triangle I was really looking to exploit. Another triangle, because this player is holding up the ball, is one that involves the wingback on support, kind of hanging out up here and then creating a triangle between these 3 players here. With the wingback on support, and with the Mezzala kind of existing in the hole between the front line, you also have a triangle here of the wingback, the Mezzala, and the RPM. So this Mezzala right now is like the fulcrum of 3 points of 3 various triangles. So that's something to think of, a very important role here as well. And then this wingback on attack is meant to be involved in a triangle with the Shadow Striker, the AM on support, which will sit a little bit deeper as well. So there's also a triangle there too. And then a final triangle is with the Mezzala, the AM support, and the RPM is going to form a triangle too. And so obviously there's going to be triangles at the back between the RPM and the center backs, or the RPM center back wingback, or the RPM ball playing defender wingback. So you're going to have different triangles here at the back as well. But the way the dynamic triangles kind of operate in that attacking third is what's really important, because you need to have passing combinations available to you to get balls in behind. And specifically this Shadow Striker centrally. And later when we look at the highlights, and then of course during the results, you'll see the Shadow Striker in this tactic is extremely prolific. Part of that is because we've got Alexander Isak playing there, and he's very good. But just in general, the goals are flowing through this central position, which is how we built it and what the triangles are meant to do. So quickly we'll take a look at some of the other instructions here. We are trying to hit early crosses, something that is kind of important in strikerless to get in behind their defense. Those crosses are low as well, which is also something that's really important. And I've seen some people move away from playing out of defense in this match engine, but I will say in a strikerless tactic, it's extremely important, because when you hit the ball long, you are not going to win those balls. And so you're giving the ball up basically anytime the keeper hits it long. So you want to, despite the fact that your opponents might be high pressing, you still need to play out of the back, trying to make sure you retain enough possession of the ball to work those openings that you need to score goals in this tactic. Passing into space, very good on FM23, even better in a strikerless tactic, so also very, very important. We are As well, rolling it out to our center backs, like we just talked about, just really trying to encourage building from the back and passing our way through the defense. Counter press and counter. We are playing, again, this much higher defensive line as well. And that, again, is a way to compress those lines and make sure that your attacking three is connected to your back line so that it only takes 2 passes to get from a center back to one of the AMCs rather than 3 or 4 in some other more stretched out tactics. You're really trying to give those center backs even the opportunity to punch through balls in to try and score goals as well. So we're getting stuck in, we're stepping up more, we are trapping inside, like really aggressive, compact defense to really spring the plays through. And we're playing on an attacking role, which I tend to think attacking works a little bit better in strikerless than some of the other mentalities. But let's take a look at some of the highlights. You can really see the dynamics of these triangles and the players getting in behind to score the goals, especially those shadow strikers. All right, so this first highlight, I think, does kind of take advantage of one of the triangles that I was talking about. So we'll pause it right here. And to start here, we do have this triangle with Gozens, Raspadori, and Locatelli, but also we have the beginning of a triangle between Raspadori, Locatelli, and currently Olise, who's come in to play the central shadow striker because Isak came off ineffective here late in the second half of this game against Barcelona. And this is what I'm talking about, right? We're transitioning from this triangle into a new triangle with Locatelli, the Mezzala, here at the center point. And so is able to play a ball through here to Olise as this defender makes like a poor decision, mostly because of strikerless. So boom, Locatelli's able to play it in behind. The keeper comes from it, doesn't get there, and Olise finishes. Even if the keeper doesn't come for that, Olise is in clear and is going to score regardless. So I'm less worried about Ter Stegen's mistake there. I just wanted to kind of show you how important Locatelli was there as like the pivot between 2 different triangles being activated in order to get that player in behind as well. Simple goal, looks a lot simpler, but it did kind of illustrate in terms of field positioning the triangles that I was talking about. On this highlight, I do want to indicate, like, one of the things we talked about in the tactics overview is how that Mezzala will sometimes underlap the Trek stay wider, run wide with the ball instruction. And that is what happens here. So I've highlighted the TREQUARTISTA and the Mezzala here. Those are the player names you're looking at, Raspadori and Locatelli. So let's let this play out and you'll kind of watch the player movement of those 2 players in particular, right? So Raspadori goes inside to Isak, but now as he continues he's outside of Locatelli and scores. It is a great ball from Aronson, and it is somewhat compact, but Raspadori has let Locatelli have that inside lane, which then leaves Raspadori wide open on the back post. Aronson playing as that AM support here in the game today against Sevilla, which was a 5-0 demolition away. Raspadori does a great job finishing that too as the last player in line of all the runners, and just kind of illustrates too that underlap and overlap that we talked about between the Mezzala and that TREQUARTISTA role. All right, on this highlight, what I'm going to try to show you too is just hit early crosses. We win the ball back in midfield. Isak kind of gets it taken away from him here, but another tackle. And finally, Pereira has it here. And Pereira could try to go wide with the ball and get a cross in, but instead takes the really early choice to Isak. The early low crosses, even from those wingbacks, spring those shadow strikers in before the defense has a chance to get settled. And they can run in behind and score goals. It's just a very good instruction and definitely leads to goals in this tactic. All right, once again, the triangles are on display, as well as the combination play between that TREQUARTISTA and that shadow striker as the finisher. So take a look at this play develop here. Locatelli across to the AM support, who's Aronson, who plays it out wide again to the TREQUARTISTA, who's running wider and going to run wide with the ball, and Locatelli underlapping as well. So there was a triangle here before Aronson released the ball, and now there's a new triangle between Raspadori, who has the cutback turned on to Locatelli, and the ball across to Isak when he gets into an onside position as Raspadori wins the ball here into the corner. So Raspadori gets it down, plays it through to Isak, and the rest is history. All right, let's take a look at some of the results. But before we do, Bernard Gorman, a new gen that came through in the youth intake for the balance team. He looks so spicy. And that's something I kind of want to start doing in some of these videos, is show you the best youth intake player that, will never get to play with Bernard Gorman. He just exists in this database. That's it. I'm going to delete the file in a couple months and Bernard will go away. But at 16 years old, that pace and acceleration, the anticipation, the determination, the finishing and dribbling, the foundations are there. Off the ball and composure needs some work, but as a left-footed striker with 5-star potential ability, this kid has a ton of room for growth and just is a super cool new gens. I'll show you more new gens in the future as they crop up, but I just wanted to, start here with that. So, but let's talk first about the results, and here we go. Let's find this screen. There we go. Leagues in focus. These are the results. They're pretty good. You'll see a decent top half finish from the Elite League. And I will tell you, the Elite League result is better than it looks, because look at the run-in that we had on the Elite League when we look at their schedule. And in the last several games, we had 2 points in the last 8 games of the season. So leading up to that point, the tactic was firing, and I don't know what happened, why it went south. Probably because there were only 3 home games here, and they were against Bayern and Liverpool and Barcelona, so it was a pretty difficult place to get even points at home. But throughout the season was a very good tactic, still finished with a positive goal difference despite a 5-1 loss, a 5-0 loss as well in this run, and still had a +5 goal difference. Really makes me think we are super on to something here, because this was doing very well in the Elite League before this run of form. It was in the top 3, top 2 places in the division, and then the bottom just fell off late in the season. So I don't know exactly what caused it. It's hard to tell in the numbers what caused it. But again, in the Elite League, having 48 points and a +5 goal difference is very impressive. Isak with 31 goals. And you can kind of see from the returns here too. 62 goals is second in the entire division. 57 goals for is not close to being the worst either. And so this +5 goal difference. And again, look at the run-in was just so bad. Really possibilities here for this team to have easily finished on about 58 points, right where PSG finished in 3rd. So opportunities for improvement. And if I were at the control instead of holidaying, we might have done very well in the Elite League, which is very difficult. In the Balance League, we did finish 2nd, but we had 82 points and a +50 goal difference. So I'm not worried about this result at all. I think this easily clears my threshold of being a very good tactic in the Balance League. Sometimes you just can't control for Dortmund. We only beat Dortmund 1 time. It was away from home, and they beat us 3 times. So that is really the reason why we didn't win the division. But other than that, we played very well in the Balanced League. In the Average League too, we did win the Average League with 76 points, which is a very good result. +39 goal difference as well here, with 88 goals scored in the Average League is again a really good result. And then in the Balanced Underdog League, we destroyed it. 94 points, 101 goals scored, only 2 losses, 30 wins in the division. And I'll tell you a secret, an earlier version of the tactic actually blitzed the Underdog League with no losses, which was incredible. But it finished dead last in the Elite League, so we had to go back to the table, make some adjustments. And I was able to do that, and obviously we saw the Elite result that it was. It's very good. We didn't sacrifice much here. And it also improved a lot in the Average League too. So when you look at some of the stats and the way the games are kind of shaking out, we sort by appearances here. Again, the goals here are coming through Alexander Isak. 31 goals in the Elite League. Raspadori, as that TREQUARTISTA, played very well. And that AMC on support role also is dropping in 14 assists in this league as well. And Malinovsky takes set pieces, but I went into the data and only saw 3 set piece goals for the team all year. So it's not like Malinovsky was piling up set piece assists here as well. So that is a pretty good return. In the Balance League, some of these individual stats as well, we'll take a quick look at. Look at Raspadori, 21 goals and 16 assists. 15 assists for Malinovsky. Now, we did do better from set-piece goals here. Issa Diop contributed 9 goals offensively in the Balance League, but still plenty of assists to go around for Malinovsky and for Raspadori as the TREQUARTISTA in the Balance League as well. So, In the average league and the underdog league, once again, the output was coming from 38 goals from Isaac, the assists coming from that TREQUARTISTA and from that support position in the front three, and the same thing in the underdog league as well. So just really impressive goal returns and really impressive, like, 40 goals in this game from Isaac as well, 17 and 17 from Respiratory. That Trek role is doing the business in this tactic, as well as the AM support. Guzins, though, 18 assists from Guzins from that wing back on support role. So I don't know what was cooking here in the underdog league. Issa Diop also 12 goals from set pieces, but even if you take those away, would have won the division running away regardless. But whatever Guzins was on here is just insane. But anyway, I'm really happy with the tactic. I hope you are as well. Remember, as normal, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment and a like, and let me know what you like about the tactics, what kind of tactics you want me to work on in the future, and join the Discord, most importantly. That's a place where you can get all of the tactics, you can get the test database, and you can submit your own results and screenshots of your own tests for people to give you feedback on and answer questions and piggyback on and build into something even brighter and more beautiful. So get involved in the Discord. We'd love to have you be a part of that community, and of course in the Patreon as well. There's a link in the description to join that as well. Thank you to all of my patrons so far who have been contributing to this project. It means the world to me. So to download this tactic, the database, anywhere else, you can join the Discord, or there's a link in the description for a Dropbox folder as well that gives you direct links to all of the things that you would need to be a part of the Total Tactics community. So I hope to see you in the future and be more involved. We will have another tactics video out next week, so be on the lookout for that. And until next time, enjoy testing.